Hey, what's up, guys? It's gonna be the week 39 recap. Started off the week with a really good win on AIH. I was looking for this thing to pop up into like the 920s to like load the boat. Didn't happen, so I went in like half size, shorted here, covered here, shorted, recycled. Uh, once I re-shorted here, I lowered my stop to break even. Popped it down here, I recycled again, uh, readjusting my break even, and I covered the final target. Is a really good trade for me, but it caused some emotions. I have a problem of when I do really good that I kind of step out of line a little bit. So I came back and traded a PRPO. I didn't trade this thing good at all. Shorted here, shorted again. I covered for a small loss, shorted again, covered for a small loss. Shorted front side, covers a decent loss. Then shorted and break even. Now I left it alone. Um, Kind of sucks because one thing that I'm starting to realize is like I'm starting to find my style a little bit, and I'm more of like an extension kind of guy. I like to look for these wicks and like this stuffed out right above 9, huge volume, but then has lower volume, pops up, stuffs out again right below 9, short, risking that high, perfect stuff, fades all the way. Like this could have been an absolute moneymaker for me. Um, BLRX was my other trade. Again, I kind of dropped the ball. I traded this really well, but the problem is where I traded really well, I was only in part size because I was looking for more of extension. I didn't want to like go in full size on J lines or VWAP. I don't want to do that. Like I'll load the boat on extensions, but I won't load the boat down here, and that's one of my rules. I'll kind of get back to here in a little bit, but shorted here, covered here. I covered break even. I reshorted the stuff, covered just in the money. This thing came up here. I didn't mess with any of this because I wanted more of an extension. Popped down here. I shorted, covered, recycled, covered, and this is kind of when it kind of got a little bit crappy. I shorted here, covered break even. My my average probably would have been like over here, so I was in the money. Then I reshorted, covered, which is fine, but then I shorted here, and I'm pretty sure this is one. This is the only trade that I really went in full size on because I actually ended this trade slightly red. Popped up, and I got squeezed for like a little over 20 cents full size, and that took all my profits on the day, which sucked. Um, and I started really analyzing things. I was like, all right, I need to figure this out because I'm not doing great, and I need to start figuring out like what's the things that I'm doing worst, like the worst at. Like I'm following other people's calls. Like people like, oh, I'm shorting this or I'm shorting that. That's cool, man. Like you're shorting that. Doesn't mean I'm shorting it because that was they know something I don't. I didn't even have it on my radar, and I need to stay away from stocks that aren't on my radar. What I'm starting to find is that I love pumps and I love extensions because they give me a lot of money if I can stay calm and play them right, but I need to stay away from shorter weakness, and so like that's like the thing I've been focusing on a lot. I watched Metagame Trader. He made a webinar in Jay Trader's room. I just call him Meta, but he uh, he made an amazing webinar about pre-market trading. But the cool thing that when I was like watching it, like I know he's trading pre-market, but his style is very, very similar to like what I'm starting to figure out is my style. And when he's talking about it, like it made a lot of sense to me. Like I was seeing all this stuff and I thought I was breaking rules and so I didn't want to trade it, but it's like it's not really that I'm breaking rules. I'm just uh you find your style. And I started talking to Jay and he's cool with me trading the way I've been trading. He's actually been really happy with my results lately. And one of the trades that I did really well on was this one. And I traded this like a pro, is what Jay said. And I honestly, I agree. I think I traded this in great. It stuffed over 11. I shorted it, covered into the wash, lowered my stop to break even. So right when I enter a trade, I had a hotkey to risk 10, 15, or 50 cents, depending on like the size I'm in and all that, and like the price of the stock and all that. I shorted here, covered here. I shorted on this pop. I covered in the wash, covered in the wash. I missed a nice ad right here. Would have been a good ad. I covered. I recycled, and I covered at the final target. And this is a really good trade. Then I kind of screwed up DPW because I like this could have been a monster trade for me too. But I was in VERU, which is what I just showed you, DPW and CHMA all at the same time, and I'm realizing that that's a little bit too much for me to kind of handle. The shorter here, which is good. I covered here, I covered here, and I covered in the money, which is perfect. And I shorted uh, full size here, and I took a full size cut, and then I missed the whole backside. And unfortunately, I let this thing get too far away from me, and I ended this trade red a little bit. Then I got CHMA. So popped up, stuffed out again. I shorted lower high. I covered in the wash. I looked to recycle. I cut it off in the money. But then I shorted weakness. Not good. Then I covered for a loss. And I shorted, risking this high. I covered, recycled J lines, which I'm not really having the best luck with. I scaled in, I added full size up here. I covered in the wash, recycled, cut it off, all of it off right here. After that, uh, but I started. This is a little bit better trade. And then I traded Mito. So I started scaling into this one. Like that's another thing I'm kind of playing around with. So I shorted here because there's a big heat map above. I scaled in a little more. Scaled in once I saw the stuffing out. I was risking that. I double topped, slammed down. I covered. I recycled a small piece. I loaded the boat here. I covered all of it. Break even. I thought that like he was gonna. I was gonna rip. Uh, I shorted here, covered for a small loss. Shorted, covered, shorted again after this stuff move, cover, and cover. And yeah, like this was pretty good, but then I absolutely killed this stock. So I actually started off the day on it with a small loss. I saw this thing stuff, shorted here, covered for a small loss. Shorted here, added to the short. So I took a loss on this, so I wanted to be cautious. Is lower volume. The spread was pretty big on it. I shorted here, part size. I wanted to see this thing pop up and stuff again. It didn't happen. I added to the position, lowered my stop to break even, covered, shorted again, cut it all off here. I know I had a small loss on this at that point, but then I saw this thing coming back up here, and I was like, all right, like they've been trapping a lot of people under in VWAP, like these beginner short traders. Like they'll come in and they'll short like right when it fills VWAP, and then they'll just kind of hold it, and start squeezing. So, all right, I think this thing's gonna squeeze. So I longed it here. I covered. I covered. This is supposed to be an ad. Because I know I added, and I added, then I covered. No, yeah. I covered up here, then I added again. I covered up here. I saw it topping out up here, and I was just like, you know what? I think it's found its top. So I covered, and then I reshorted instantly, and I was risking like 850s, 860s. I remember there was a big heat map. I had this giant wash. I recycled full size here, cover, and this thing was honestly, this is probably like one of the biggest P&L trades I've had in a minute. And it's all from like looking for like this kind of stuff. The guy that I was talking about last week, where he's talking about supply and demand. Like you want to see where the big hands are selling off at. You got these wicks all up over here. Every time it pops up to around 850s, 860s, it's selling off. I was like, all right, well, that's a good P&L right there. I mean, if you look at this thing, so every time it pops over 850, right? So you short above 850. At the worst, yeah, like that's a big risk, 35 cents. But if you scale into that, where you're not loading the boat, short up here, cover into the wash, say you went third size, half size up here, that's fine. Cover down here, you get a big P&L. Load the boat here, lower your stop to break even. Then you have a little bit of wiggle room. Now you're loading the boat here, which is exactly what I did. And then cover. It's like it's a way for me to, because even once I loaded the boat here, my stop was like 15 cents higher than where my entry was, where I loaded the boat. And then I loaded the boat at like 750. My last cover was at like $6. So I mean that alone is amazing. So that was yesterday, and then today I had kind of a rough day, honestly. Um, so I shorted here, covered here, shorted again. I added to it, cut it off, shorted, cover. Um, I recycled. And uh, no, I cut it all off, and I reshorted again, cover, shorted, cover, shorted here, cut everything off. No, I cut this part off. Whatever I added here, I cut this off. I still had my average around here. I covered, recycled, cover, short, covered the final target. I got a small little win on ears, but I am actually in, well, I was in, my stop got hit, so that was right. So I shorted, I saw this thing topping out at $5. Shorted here, covered, recycled, cover, shorted again, shorted. This is where I got squeezed, and I was red on the day. I reshorted once I saw it topping out. I covered, recycled, covered this piece. Then it got into wash. I shorted up here. I added to it, cut it off. Short, cover, short, cover. I just covered again. I'll look for a pop into like the 450s, 460s to reshort it if I do reshort it. But one thing that I've been starting to do is like I need to um, make rules up on my trades, which honestly, unfortunately, if I'm being honest, I probably got another 2.5 miles I got to run tomorrow because I did break the rules today on ears. I'm sure my buddy Chad, if he's watching this, is probably gonna be cracking up laughing because he told me that since yesterday I had such a great day that I should take the day off. He's honestly he was probably right because my emotions were a little bit haywire. Like because I started off not good on ears. I went complete FOMO on ears. I treated that horribly. I've been doing good, like shorting the tops up here, but on ears, I mean, I did good here. I shorted, covered. I I added a little piece, added another piece, but like this is my average was like down here. I cut up. I remember I was in all full size here, and then when I finally got the dang trade, I wasn't in full size. I was like, hey man, like you need to like cut your risk down a lot. Um, but you know I'm green on the day, luckily. But and this stock IHT is just it is actually here. Never usually do this. I'm normally not in trade, but this is bookmap. It kind of shows you like how it's trading. Like you see all these big soaks up here. Like I should have been shorting up in this area. What I would like is this thing up towards 5 again, 510, and I will reshort this for sure because um but right now it looks like it's kind of curling. If it breaks 450s, it could possibly squeeze. Got SSR. If it does break that, that like for me that'll be good. If it doesn't break that, I'm probably gonna leave it alone. But if it pops up into the 510 area, I'll most definitely short it again. Look at all those green prints. Crazy. How many buyers are there? There's a couple of you know short sellers, but mostly like I think this is gonna rip over 450s. I'm be up at fives, but this thing kind of gives me like a bird's eye view of the stock. You know, this thing just ripped out of nowhere. Comes up here, starts consolidating around. This is where I got squeezed at. It's ripped up here and then just tanked. Um, so it seems like it's kind of right at the $5 to 560 area. Like somebody's trying to sell a big position. Hopefully they're pushing this up just so they can sell off even more. Um, so we'll see what happens. But for right now, I'm done for the day. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back next.